So now we come back to the hex Schmitt trigger inverter integrated circuit. It's a 7400 series integrated circuit. It's the HC version. That means high speed CMOS. So there's also LS, low power Schottky, and many other ones. But don't have to worry about that too much when it comes to what the integrated circuit does. It does influence the power handling capabilities. So this circuit's designed for the 74HC 14. So 14 means that it's a hex Schmitt trigger inverter integrated circuit. There's 6. You can see 6 numbers there. That's hex for 6. Schmitt trigger, there you can see the Schmitt trigger symbol right there. What that means is there's not an exact voltage where above that is high and below that is low. There's a middle ground region where it's going to stay high if that's where it was previously, or it's going to stay low if that's where it was previously. The output though, that's where the inverter comes. Inverters are also a high power, usually DC, so lots of current, usually at a lower voltage, and goes into a unit called an inverter that outputs about 120 volts AC right there. So not the same thing. This is a digital inverter, means that what the input is inverted when it comes out. I like to think of this, you got like a high enough voltage coming in, it gets spun around into a low output right there. And so this is actually a buffer symbol, the triangle. If you're not talking about the Schmitt trigger, that'd be a Schmitt trigger buffer. And then the dot is the inverter. So if you see a dot on schematics by inputs or outputs, that means that it's inverting. Be aware of that. And that'll help you a lot if you see confusing dots at inputs and outputs. So I like to just use them at the outputs. Sometimes you'll see them at the input as well. Be aware of that. So in any case, the goal of this circuit is I don't want to invert what the trim pot is, so it's not wired up yet. We'll do a step-by-step. If I have a high enough voltage at the input, or I'm in the hysteresis range after being high enough, I want a high output right there. So you don't get that with an inverter, but you're going to see these inverter integrated circuits a lot. The 7414 probably especially. And you may see them in series like this. So all we're doing is inverting the inversion right there. So if you give a high enough voltage in, you got that low out there, but that's a low input for that inverter. So you got a high output coming out right there. Now trim pots are not meant for providing current. They're meant for giving, when you're using them as a voltage divider like this. They're meant for giving a signal. So these inputs just look at that voltage, draws practically no current at all. Make sure that the voltage stays steady. If it pulls current out of the trim pot wiper, that's going to lower the voltage. And if it sources current into the wiper, that's going to raise the voltage at that point. You don't want that. You just want to look at that voltage as much as possible. And then same with this input right there. So this output we can short right to the input because the input doesn't let current go in or out. I don't think these integrated circuits have short circuit protection. Any case, we'll just keep going with that. So high in, low out, high in, or low in, I mean high out right there. Or if we give a low in, then that will be a high out, but that's a high in there. So a low out over there. We're following what this is. That would be a buffer. So the truth table is the buffer. And then when it comes to the integrated circuit, you can work with 2 to 6 volts, maximum of about 25 milliamps of current at any of the outputs, but their total current has to be limited to 50 milliamps of current. Always be careful of that. Don't leave inputs floating. So we already have that taken care of. We have 4 NOT gates, or inverters, whichever one you want to call it, that we're not going to use. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are the ones we're not using. We're using the number 1 inverter up there and the number 2. Now, the input A is above the output. Pretty simple system there. So nothing connected to the output there. And then that inputs to the output of the one down there. And then we have this jumper there. Might as well add the trim pot right now for our signal right there. So it's 3 pins. It's a resistive element, one end to the other, about 10,000 ohms, and then a wiper that slides across there for your voltage divider. So basic voltage divider stuff. Something you definitely need to learn about if you have no clue what I'm talking about when I say voltage divider. Let's slide it up one more so that it fits pretty nicely right there. I like to put the jumpers where we got those little dashes, and so you can turn it around. Just realize whichever power supply the arrow is pointing closer to, because it doesn't spin all the way around. It goes to one end or the other. Whatever it's pointed closer to is the voltage. It's going to be more like, so we're going to have a high input right there. That's going to that NOT gate though. And then the output is there. So high in will be low out. Of course, we don't have power applied yet. And so that'll be a low input for the next one. So we'll have a high output. So the red LED will light up once we wire that and then get power going. So as I said before, I like to use red LEDs to light up when the output's high. So that's just a color coding I like. They don't light up just because a output is high or low. You got to wire it up so that it will light up when the output is high. And so long lead the anode up on top, short lead the cathode down below. Make sure you put it the right way. Cathode needs to be towards the more negative power supply right there. And so yeah, we got our input there. Output's down one spot. I'm going to slide over a little bit because we're going to wire up another resistor. So yeah, 220 ohms right there. And usually it's pretty easy to tell. Red, red, black, black. So if I saw like red down there, I would know that it's 22,000 ohms. But in any case, red, red, black, black for 220. And then the blue LED. Again, also, we have the LEDs directly to the output there. The anode, or the cathode, I mean, of the blue one to the output. The anode to the output right there of the red one. You don't have to put them in the order that you see on the schematic. As long as they're in series and the LEDs in the right way, you're perfectly fine. So long lead the anode to the positive supply right there. Short lead the cathode down a row for our 1K resistor. So that's more than 4 times the resistance than that LED. The blue LED also drops more voltage than the red LED. So we're going to have a lot more current going through the red LED than the blue LED. I can't remember the exact voltage range of the output. I was thinking of doing that next video. But again, if I measure that and everything, kind of gets more confusing for people that are completely new to this circuit. So I'm not going to include it in the video. And it's already long enough. So yeah, there we go. We got the 1000 ohm resistor. That's literally it for our wiring. So I think I over-explained this too long. Hysteresis, since I got the note there, I don't remember bringing this up yet while making this video. There's not a specific point where the input's high or low when you get to the middle ground region. Of course, if you're close to 5 volts in this case, it's high. If you're close to 0 volts, it's low. But you get about halfway, maybe it's low, if that's where it was earlier, and maybe if it's high, if that's where it was earlier. It stays whichever state it was last put in. You have to overcome a little extra distance to definitely get a low, and then you go back, it'll stay low. So basic hysteresis stuff. And then I don't think I mentioned the truth table. 1 means like high, in this case 5 volts. There's all kinds of meanings, maybe it could be on or whatever, but in this case we're just going to talk about high and low, 5 and 0 volts. Low right there, if you got a low input, you got a low output. That's for the total circuit, not for one of the logic gates. Usually you see a truth table, it's for one of the logic gates, but you can take certain logic gates, combine them, and make a different logic gate. As far as the circuit's concerned, it's all that other logic gate, because the rest of the voltages are just signals, you know. And when it comes to the output power, it's just whatever output you're looking at versus whatever the initial input is. You don't really care about what's going on in between them. The input, though, is usually just a weak signal, just a voltage that it's responding to. And that's what I mean when I say signal right there. So we will power this up, and these header pins, this board is cheap, so it doesn't grip stuff real tightly. Try not to short anything. Also, I turned the power off, and I don't always remember to do that, but I turned the output power on. So if I accidentally shorted something or whatever, doesn't matter. And I also limited how much current this will provide. So if I make a direct connection of the 2 alligator clips, first off, it will turn off the output, has short circuit protection, and also it won't let more than 20 milliamps of current flow, although you might get a spike of high current, a brief spike. But yeah, there we go. we got the trim pot up high, we plugged in the power, we had a high output. I kind of wanted to do that because last video I had a high input, but we just wired a NOT gate, so we had a low output, and the low turned right on. So I didn't see like a flicker or something. It looks like even when you apply power, you'll get the right output for the input. There's not kind of like a brief area where it's trying to figure out what's going on. So yeah, high input, high input, high output right there. Go low enough, low input, low output. But again, we're converting it. So that's a low output, that's a low input. Our first NOT gate has a high output. It's going to be the opposite of what these two are. And same if we go that way. Same thing. So you can always convert a conversion. You can always take logic gates. So like here we have NOT gates. We can combine them to make a buffer right there. So we don't need to buy buffer integrated circuits unless we absolutely have to. But you can see a lot of times you're going to have NOT gates you're not using. So if you need a NOT gate and you also need a buffer, right there you got a buffer. Or here we got a buffer, there we got a NOT gate, and so on. Of course, we tied the inputs to supply voltages because the circuit can go erratic if you don't. And I think, yeah, we pretty much covered everything. So I think we will test that out right now. I'm going to try to make sure I don't short anything. But yeah, I believe that was 8 milliamps of current before. And if I yank all of these, looks like it's still about 8 milliamps of current. Let's try changing this and see if, I think it's 2 or 3 with the blue. So yeah, it's looks like this time is pretty stable, at least for this integrated circuit right there. A lot of other ones, and maybe over time, as static charge kind of changes the voltage, maybe we'll get some erratic outputs. I'm not sure. I could also touch it. You shouldn't really touch these because you could shock them. But yeah, there you can see. Now we're getting more current right there. I probably kind of got a charge on the inputs right there. So you want to give it a definite solid voltage. That's the main takeaway. And also you should not touch these integrated circuits more than you have to because they are susceptible to shock. So I should always mention that. I try to ground myself before I handle them as often as possible. So in any case, went on really long, but again, I meant this for absolute beginners, and just kind of build these simple circuits. It will all come to you really quickly. It's not terribly complex, but if you haven't built the circuits, you know, then it's probably going to seem more confusing than it is. But once you build a couple circuits, you know, it starts coming pretty quick. So thanks for watching. Make sure you check out one of the other videos I'm posting on the screen, and check out links down below. They all help out a lot. I'll see you in the next video.